listening to Speaker Gingrich is that you spent a lot of years successfully in Congress. You have a very distinguished career. Then you left Congress, and that gave you an opportunity to start some other ventures and to think. And so you've been studying and thinking about things rather than being inside that Washington bubble. What are the three biggest things that you have come to realize by being outside the bubble during this period of time?
First of all, it's a interesting reversal of our two careers. You were in the private sector and then got drawn into public life by the pressure. I left the public sector and implicitly I opened up a number of small businesses. And the first thing I learned, which was the opposite of how Washington and most state governments think, is you don't get up every morning trying to find a customer, please a customer, renew a relationship so you keep the customer. You don't get to stay in business. This is part of why I'm so intrigued with Strong America Now and the idea of applying Lean Six Sigma to the federal government, because it starts with the idea, if you haven't earned your pay today, why do you think we're going to pay you? And the second thing is something I've known, which actually shaped my career in Congress. But now that I've been out for a while, it's even truer. And I was really struck with this the other day at Vermeer, which is a heavy manufacturing company that builds heavy equipment for construction. And it started with one person in 1948, now it's about 2000. And I was looking at their modern equipment. You go back and look at what they built in 1948, you look at the stuff they do now. What hit me was the great reason for the American people to be optimistic is that in almost every part of the private sector, somebody is doing something brilliant that could be transferred to government and that would lead to dramatic decline in cost and a remarkable increase in effectiveness. And the challenge is this wall, which the politicians, the consultants, and the news media create, which block you from having that conversation. And so I am very optimistic, as I spent the last few years. I helped found the Center for Health Transformation because I really believe if you went around the country and found best practices, you'd be astonished how much you could change Medicaid and Medicare, but more important, and how much you could change private sector healthcare, and how much better our health would be, and how much cheaper it would be. The third thing actually is something I learned when we balanced the federal budget. I brought in a whole bunch of CEOs. Every Wednesday night we'd have 12 or 15. And I'd say to them, we're going to balance the federal budget. It's an act of will. We decided we're going to do it. I said, what's your advice? Because back then it was only about a $200 or $300 billion deficit. By the way, my record was, when I entered office, the Congressional Budget Office projected for 10 years a $2.7 trillion deficit total. When I left 4 years later, they projected a $2.3 trillion surplus for the next 10 years. That's a swing of $5 trillion. Here's what they said to me. Three quick things you'll identify with as a CEO. Set very big goals with tight deadlines. Delegate like crazy. Don't let any experts in the room.